When I first started Sunland News back in August of 2024 now, my main goal, and it's still my main goal, is to bring local news that feels like home. And to get even more granular about that, it's to create and make news that's focused on here. So many times I read and see things that make me feel left out of the conversation. And it happens locally, ironically enough. So going in to Sunland News, I knew that I would make it my top priority to just focus on home. Now, over the course of time, I've realized what that looks like and the amount of focus it takes and how there's so much that goes uncovered, even with me just focusing on home. Now, that's in terms of focus, but I also want to talk about form. Something, again, that I constantly see is that we are not always making the form that fits the people that we're trying to talk to. And in terms of long form conversations, it's almost zero as it relates to local. And 2026 is going to be a big year, both locally, nationally, or whatever. I knew I wanted something more longer form as it related to Sunland. A version of what that might look like is the live stream that we just did for the MLK parade. Also the live streams that we'll be doing every single month, going over what happened here locally. But another example of this is the conversation that you're getting ready to watch that I had the pleasure of having with Bernard Taylor. See, again, up until this point, I've sort of avoided the politics, and my main reasoning for doing so is because, one, anytime I'm approached with politics here locally, it never feels focused. It always feels more like a national conversation. And two, I simply just didn't know how I would approach it, how I could focus in and make sure that if I were to have these conversations, it would just be about here. And it wasn't until recently where I felt like I was able to do that. And I also felt compelled to do that. I also want to say I will continue to have these conversations with everybody, anyone and everyone who affects us here locally. That doesn't always mean somebody who's running for office. It doesn't always mean somebody who's in office. Sometimes it means the leaders who make things happen around us, but we never get to have a conversation with them. We never get to see their face. This just happened to be the first one. As I talk to many people in my life about decisions as it relates to Sunland, it always comes back to one question. If so, then who? And I feel like myself and Sunland have a certain obligation and duty to bring conversations like these to the people of St. Lucie County. I hope you enjoy this interview, and I'll see you soon. To that,
So they're talking about probably cutting this district in half,
cutting St. Lucie in half,
cutting this whole district in half.
the whole district, because that's how we north, like West Palm.
So they would probably take like St. Lucie County and incorporate it with Indian River County and Brevard County.
And that would
eliminate this district entirely because that district will be incorporated with I forget the guy's name. He got a long name as a Republican, and then it would be Martin County into Jupiter area, down into the Palm Beach area, and a few other places.
And you can only run in the district you living in.
Yes. Well, not in Florida, but technically it's best that you run in the district that you live in.
Because you understand it. Yeah.
So if that were to happen, if they would have split this district up, then I would have a choice to make. Do I want to primary Lois Sprinkle, who's been in politics for damn near 50 years?
Because he would be part of
he would be running against her for her district if he decided to run again after all of it's a whole lot of stuff, and we won't know anything till after April
with the special election.
So hopefully nothing changes too much, but I mean
what's your thoughts? You think
I'm in it, so whatever it comes out to be.
Okay.
If I got to get the old lady up out the paint, she got to go, bro.
Okay.
Too many people have invested in this.
Does that sort of switch your approach that you've been doing thus far? Kind of the same sort of...
Same thing, man. Just getting support, man. So when the time comes, the thing that's going to switch it up, though, is at least when you had the qualifying period in April, you had from April to August for your primary. Now that they're pushing that window back to June, it's basically as soon as pen to paper, your name's on the ballot, you got 60 days to beat your primary opponents, and then 90 days to win the general election.
Gotcha.
Hopefully, you don't have any primary opponents. We'll see what the other two in the race decide to do after this, or what they decide to do after the lines are redrawn.
Yeah, okay.
Because, again, depending on how things get drawn up,
they're going to have to make that same decision.
And unfortunately for them, they have those ties to the political community, so they can't afford to really piss nobody off. They're not going to run up against another incumbent Democrat that's been entrenched, because those are the people that they're trying to be on their side, that type of deal. So if it was to be a situation like that, they would probably drop out.
I'm not even sure when we'll start this, but that was a question I had for you. Yeah. But that wasn't.
You can always put it back in.
Yeah, exactly. Man. But I hate to do that thing where I'm like, I kind of shove it in later. I'd just rather ask it now. I mean, from your perspective, for you, just how you're going about fundraising, how you're going about campaigning. Do you ever feel like you're sort of fighting two sides? Because
absolutely.
Okay, I mean, speak more about that.
Absolutely. So, for people don't understand, I've been talking.
And explain that for
yes. So, for people who don't understand, I've been talking about this recently. We don't, under the current system, you don't hire people that legislate for you. And let me elaborate on that. The party apparatus, one of the very first two things they ask you: hey, how you doing? My name's Bernard. Hey, nice to meet you. How much money have you raised? So right off the bat, don't care who you are, don't care what you believe, don't want to know what kind of legislation you want to bring forth. How much money have you raised? The second question they ask is, how much call time have you done? They want to know how long you've been on the phone, how long you spent on the phone raising money or talking to people. And there's a reason for that. When you get into Congress, and this is something I learned doing a whole lot of learning about the political landscape and how things are actually ran. When you get into Congress, the majority of your day is not, negotiating, and it's not coming up with legislation. The majority of your day is they put you in basically what's called call center. You're spending 8 hours of your day begging people for money.
This is after you're elected yourself.
Yes. That is your job in Congress. Your job.
Can you go deeper into the mechanism, why it's set up like that?
Your job is to raise money for the party, so the party can continue to fund other candidates, so the party apparatus can continue to operate as status quo, because all this stuff, it runs off of finance. Those political, the state party, the national party, all that stuff runs through donations. If you don't have any money coming into the party, your staff doesn't get taken care of. All the different apparatus around the country that funnels movements, that funnels advertising, all this stuff does not happen without that money. So they look for candidates who are great at raising money, because they can put them in those call centers and get on the phone with those lobbyists, get on the phone with the corporate donors, get on the phone with all these different people and saying, hey, I need money. What do you want me to do? Type of deal. And that's basically your whole day. So when people get frustrated, like, I don't feel like my politicians are working for you, because they're not, essentially. They're essentially working for whoever is writing these checks, because, again, they spend most of their days getting that money so that they can run for re-election, because the House of Representatives, you run every 2 years. So as soon as your first year is over, you're back into election mode. It's not really that much time. It's too quick of a turnaround. And then you have people who are ambitious. They want to go to the Senate. They want to eventually be president one day. So they got to get in good with all these people. They gotta go along to get along in order to reach their ambition. So it's one of the reasons, again, one of the reasons why our system is broken is all the money that is involved in politics, all the money that makes things go. And it's unfortunate because, again, as long as it remains that way, the money will determine how the people we put in office move, not necessarily our wants and needs.
I mean, two-parter for you. Might split these up. How do you imagine sort of combating that, and sort of like, you raise your hand, you win, all is good, and then now it's your turn. Mm-hmm. How do you balance that with representing the people that got you there?
No, first of all, I did the call center thing when I got out of high school. It was one of the very first things that I did, and I ain't like it. Like, I didn't sign up to be in nobody call center. Absolutely not, man. And again, I got elected by people. I got elected by the people. I got elected by the voters. That's what I come up there to work for. I'm not coming up there to quote unquote get into the in crowd. I'm not coming up there to go along and get along. And that's scary to them. Those are not the people that they want in coming into the club, because they have a way of doing things. They don't want people to be independent thinkers. They don't want you to be out here like bucking the system, because again, the money runs the system. If you are a person that can't be bought, if you are a person that really doesn't have any ambition to seek anything higher, there's nothing to persuade you with, which makes you dangerous. And again, that's basically who I am. Like, I can't be bought. I don't have a desire for money. I don't have a desire to be rich. I've seen that lifestyle on many of my friends and family members. I don't want it. Biggie said it best, man. More money, more problems. And then ambition. Like, I love what I do as a firefighter. I love what I do serving my community. This is just another way for me to serve my community. I already talked with my wife. She ain't trying to be nobody first lady. So they ain't got to worry about those ambitions to get any higher. So the fact that I don't have those ambitions, the fact that I'm not trying to, make myself into some multimillionaire, it makes me more able to do the things that I say I want to do.
I mean, you kind of touched on it earlier, and I think, it's worth digging into. It feels for me, and I want to approach this sort of from the perspective of anybody. That's why I love doing it here in the center of the district, literally. You know what I mean? People are really, I think, left out of the conversation, especially locally.
Absolutely.
When you sort of start stepping up the ladder, when you start going to sort of more federal thing, even though the people represented you from this district, but I feel like, we may feel like that people that they're left out of that conversation.
Absolutely.
Why do the politics get so nationalized as you sort of move up?
Again, once you win those races, a lot of people become detached from their districts. A lot of people don't even really visit their districts like that, to be perfectly honest with you. The first thing a lot of people do is get them a place up in DC, a place up in Virginia, relocate their family. And the longer you are away from your district and the longer you are in this office, the less of a connection you have to the people in your district. I ask people all the time when I'm out here on the campaign trail, half these people don't even know who their representative is. They have never seen them before, don't know his name. I can show them a picture of him and they don't even recognize who this person is. And when you have that type of disconnect between you and your community, it's very easy to be like, I don't care what they got to say. Like, regardless, they're going to put me back in this office every 2 years. I can go vote how I want. I can go do what I want to do. But because I represent a certain party, they're going to just put me back in office. But when it comes to things like the environment and the data center that they want to put here, who do you think is the federal representative that's not standing up and opposing them putting a data center here? When it comes to the overdevelopment that is happening in Florida, who do you think is the representative that is funded by the real estate lobbies, that is funded by the development lobbies, that is funded by all these people that are making your life miserable, that are making your cost of living go up? It's the same representative that you keep putting into the office because he's quote unquote on your team. And that's on us as voters to become more informed about the things that are happening. And that's part of my job running this campaign, is to make sure people are starting to get more informed about how this stuff is actually working. I'm born and bred Floridian. I was born in 1988, born down in Miami. I moved up to this Treasure Coast area when I was in middle school. This is my home, man, and I can tell the difference between what it was when I was growing up to what it is now. And if we continue on this trajectory, home won't look like home no more. Home will look like, New York South. And don't nobody want that.
From your perspective, being here since middle school, what is that difference for you? What does it look like now to you?
It's basically Miami has crept up to Broward, Broward's crept up to Palm Beach, and Palm Beach is making its way here. Like, if you look at tradition in Abacoa and Jupiter, it is literally the same buildings, the same makeup. The same people that built Jupiter, Abacoa area are the same people that are building up tradition. They're moving all this stuff up because of the cost of living down in Miami is exponentially higher than what it is here. And we know what the cost of living is here. So as that migration happens from the southern part of the state up into our area, we have to start developing. And what does that do? The farmlands, the places where we used to ride four-wheelers and dirt bikes and going out there and just having fun, all that stuff has to get developed out. Like I couldn't, what tradition looks like now to when, back in high school, when I was in high school, like it's bananas to me. Even, the area of Crosstown that's getting built up, the new high school that they just put out there. I remember when Treasure Coast High School got built, I was like, oh, this is crazy. Like we coming up, and now you got Legacy High School out there. You got the consolidation here of the three schools coming into the K-8 schools. It's just a lot of things are happening, and the infrastructure is not there yet, which is another problem that we're having. We're developing faster than the infrastructure that we have here in our area, and none of that matters because, again, when you're being funded by the people that are developing this area, you're not necessarily worrying about how it's going to impact the people that live here already.
And I mean, all the issues that you raised, those are conversations I'm continuing to see online. As somebody who's sort of representing the district, what do you think your is it more so that you have the voice, so like, people will sort of follow? Like, what do you think your role is as far as maybe mitigating some of that or helping some? Like, where do you see yourself fitting in?
It's using the voice, it's using the communication skills. A lot of the things that you hear about, especially as you looking into the political landscape as it is today, it's like messaging. You have to be able to be a messenger. You have to be able to speak to people to where they can understand it resonates with them. One side is really great at messaging. One side sucks at messaging. And so when it comes to me and what I do and what has allowed me to build this campaign and build my presence that I have in the community and that I have online is being able to communicate. And the thing that makes me such an effective messenger is I don't have any strings. I don't have anybody I gotta worry about, oh, I can't say this or they won't give me any money. I can't piss off the sugar people because then they won't give me any money. I can't piss off the real estate lobby, otherwise they won't give me no money. I can't piss off the health insurance industry, otherwise they won't donate to my campaign. I don't have none of those strings. So I can speak to you raw, I can speak to you factually, I can give you the truth unfeathered, and it works because people like that. People want authentic. Don't talk to me like I'm stupid. Let me know what it is so I can make a decision for it. When it's been great for me so far because, again, that authenticity, people absolutely crave it after seeing the current state of our politics over my entire life.
I read, forgive me if I misplaced where I read this, it was either on your Facebook or on your website. You said something along the lines of you're not a career politician.
No, not at all.
Are you looking to make a career out of politics?
Absolutely not.
And I guess my follow-up to that then, do you think your sort of, I don't want to say lack of experience, but you not sort of like coming by way of politics to where we're sitting at today, do you think that hinders you at all? Like talk about maybe the limitations or the non-limitations of that.
Like, I don't think it gives me any limitations, to be honest with you, because again, I'm not attached to the machine, man. I'm not attached to everything that has made our politics so toxic. I'm literally coming from a fresh perspective, coming from as an outsider, untouched by the corruption that exists in our current states of politics, which is, again, makes me more appealing to anybody, regardless of your political affiliation, whether that's Democratic, Independent, or Republican, or whatever party you claim to be. It has literally been a catalyst for a lot of the support that I have. I feel like I've gotten more support for the simple fact that I'm not a career politician. Like, I don't have that voting record that you can lean on. You know what I'm saying? I don't have a history of bad decisions in politics that can come back to be like, hey, you're telling me this one thing, why did you vote this way? It is literally just my years of public service, serving the community, and what I get out here and what I actually say and the actions that I portray in my community, being selfless, doing things that help others, putting others before myself every time I go to work. Like, those different things set me aside from the everyday everyday ordinary politician. And that's the thing, we don't have enough people like myself that are in politics. If you look at the makeup of our current state of politics, if 435 representatives in the House of Congress, 11 of them come from a working class background. So how are we represented when a majority of this country is working class? Who's really representing us? And that extends down to the state level as well. A reason why you feel in the state level not represented, because most of the people that are state representatives don't come from the working class, because it is nearly impossible for just a working class citizen to run for a state house. And the reason is because the state house job is not a job that you can do full time and just live off that income. A state house representative makes about $8,000 for the entire year. So a lot of people that are state politicians, you have retirees, you have doctors, you have lawyers, you have business people, you have all the people that make the decisions for the interest of that best suits them. It don't best suits, the mom that's working on, 2 jobs trying to make ends meet because she's not represented in that body in the state. And it's the same in Congress, it's the same in Senate. We are not represented because not enough of us are in there to speak on what's actually happened. And we have a bunch of people that are in these seats that are so detached from the everyday average American, and it goes to show with every day and every piece of legislation that they pass.
Have you ever considered, being, how you're going about fundraising, you're talking about representation, why still the choice to maybe, or why the choice to run with the D next to your name? Have you ever thought about alternative parties, third parties? Has it ever sort of crossed your mind?
No, because I'm also a pragmatist, man. I look at things very, ones and zeros. What's the best course of action? How to best achieve a goal? Right now, the current structure of our politics is a 2-party system. There's no way for a third party to win, especially here in the state of Florida, where Florida is a closed primary state, and they make it extremely hard for an independent candidate to even get on the ballot. So I can appreciate everyone that wants to just break the system and skirt the system and just throw it all away. But at the end of the day, in order to change the system, we got to get into it first. This thing has been going on for over 400 years. You want to change it, you got to get into it first. And credit to the MAGA movement, because they got into the system. They got into a party. They made that party into their image, because the current Republican Party is not the Republican Party that, I knew growing up, or most people knew growing up. It is literally the party of MAGA. They had an idea. They found a party that was willing to be culpable to the idea. They infiltrated that, and they were able to take over the government as we see. You got all 3 branches of government are controlled by their ideology. Why can't the same thing happen on the opposite side in the Democratic Party? Have a working class renaissance of people who actually want to get in here and do the right thing and take over that branch. And then once we're in there, we can make it to where we can overturn Citizens United, get campaign finance reform done, ban stock trading, do all the things that we need to do in order to make this country be what it could potentially be.
Do you ever fear that, is there any hesitation about maybe running against the party and maybe leaving some of the people out along the way? I mean, sometimes in these conversations, how often the word maybe local or home comes up, maybe that sort of dwindles as you sort of try to run against the other side. And I'm sure it's vice versa for that side too. Again, what are you thinking about? What are you trying to do to keep the people and locally, at the center of the conversation?
That's my whole focus, man. I tend to not dip too much into the national conversation, into the cultural war stuff, into the things that keep people arguing back and forth. Like, my focus in my entire campaign is literally talking about the issues that we're facing here in District 21, the issues that we're facing here in Florida. We know Florida is becoming unaffordable for people ages 18 to 30. We're having a mass exodus of our young people leaving out of Florida, and it's because they don't see themselves having a future here. Florida's slowly, well, not even slowly, it's actually very quickly turning into just a retirement state. You have a bunch of people moving in that are already lived their lives and have established their lives and are coming in, while the people who make up the workforce, while the people who are the future of Florida are actually leaving. And it's because they just do not see a path forward for them to be able to be homeowners, for them to be prosperous, for them to make, a decent living. We live in the 3rd largest state in the country, and our teachers get paid the lowest in the entire country. It's things like that should not be the case, but here we are, because again, we've let one party run the state for over 30 years. There's been a Republican governor in the state for 30 years. The legislature has been controlled by Republicans for over 30 years. So when I ask people, you're complaining about things, why not change? You're not changing the people in charge though. You're complaining about your state being overdeveloped. You're complaining about the wetlands being destroyed. You're complaining about the water. You're complaining about all these things. You keep electing the same people who are doing this to you. It's kind of like the battered wife syndrome. Eventually you're gonna have to get up and leave, or something bad is gonna happen to you. And if you don't make that change, you can't be mad when something bad happens to you.
You have sort of, I'm assuming here, taken a very online social media first approach to, I guess, a lot of people maybe come across you online, I guess I should say. Do you think there is, what's your strategy as it relates to that sort of part of your campaign?
It's literally trying to touch every demographic, man. I have to be out here on the ground knocking doors and being in the events and doing the mailers, doing the old fashioned things, because a lot of the people that actually vote are 50 and up, and that's how they've been getting their information for years. But also understand that there's a younger demographic that doesn't get their information that way. You got to do the social media. You got to be on the internet. I don't do the fundraising the typical way. Like, I'm not spending all my time on the phone because I want to be out in the community meeting people. So social media, building that following, has allowed me to raise the money that I have raised so far for this campaign. It comes from people all over the country that believe in what I'm trying to do and support my message, and that's allowed me to kind of build that name recognition that people spend hundreds of thousands of dollars upon millions of dollars to try to build this name recognition. And I see it every day now. I'm starting to even see it more frequently as I'm walking around town. I'm seeing people, hey man, I see what you're doing. I seen your videos, man. Keep up the good work. I'm gonna be voting for you. Hey, I like what you're doing. Keep up the good work. I'm voting for you. Hey, I saw your video the other day. Can I talk to you about it? Because I kind of disagree with some of the things that you were saying. Can you explain it a little bit further? And having those conversations. So it's giving me that visibility to, not have to worry about paying for ads and all these other different things at this point in time in the campaign. There will become a point in time where it will be more beneficial to have those ads, because again, I know there's still a demographic that probably has no clue who I am that I'm still trying to reach. So it's a fine line. I'm not, again, you're not going to win a campaign just off your social media presence. We've seen a few examples of that over the last year, with people running campaigns and strictly focusing on their social media presence, as opposed to the actual community work that it takes and the grassroots work that it takes to win a campaign. You have to do everything. You can't do one without the other. If you're not willing to do everything, it's going to be extremely hard for you to beat the machine, because the machine is well funded and does not want to give up power.
Bit of a off-beaten question. What's the last door you knocked, and what was that conversation like?
I remember it because I knocked it today. Actually knocking doors for Chris Dodowski, because he got that special election coming up here for Fort Pierce City Commission. So that was a conversation. Wasn't even about me. I was trying to hype up Chris because we got to get him in that seat. But it was interesting because they knew who I was when I knocked the door. So they when I was talking about Chris, I say, by the way, I'm running too, and I say, I know, I see your videos. You already got my vote. So that was, again, just hearing that and seeing that more frequently, and that was over there on the beach. You know what I'm saying? So knowing that my message is touching everybody that it needs to touch is truly it's a humbling experience.
I'll get to what I actually wanted to start the interview off with. I read this, and I want to start here because I think just in the world we live in, obviously you probably know this, our attention spans are really, really short. There might be some people that have already checked out this far in. But I want to sort of start with the end in mind for this conversation. But you said something here. You said, if you would have told me on January 1st that I'd be running for U.S. Congress by the end of the year, I would have said you were crazy. But here we are, December 31st, the final day of 2025, and I'm officially in this race. My question with that in mind, 2 to 3 minutes, why should I vote for you?
You should vote for me if you actually want someone that's going to represent who you are and what you believe. You should vote for me because of my years of already sacrificing and proving that I'm willing to do everything it takes to sacrifice for the people here in my district. Every 3 days when I wake up, I leave my wife and I leave my children. Every 3 days, that could be the last day my wife has a husband. That could be the last day my wife has kids. And I do that in service to the people here in my district because I value and I truly, truly love what I do. I truly love serving the community. I truly love making sure that everybody's okay. And I truly love being there in people's times of need. Right now, I truly and wholeheartedly believe we don't have people that put people first. We have people that put their own interests first. You want people in office that are going to listen to you. You want people in office that are willing to communicate with you. And you want people in office that you know and you can believe that the decisions that they make will be on your best benefit and not themselves. So if you're looking for a candidate that's going to put you first, that is going to be accessible to you, that's going to be willing to have conversations with you, that's going to be willing to be there for you when you actually need them to be there for you in the capacity that they can be there for you, then you need to vote for me.
Gotcha. Take me back to that moment when you decided to run, to take this on. You know, do you remember where you were at, what you were eating, what you were drinking, what you were listening to? Like, take me back to that moment there.
So I was literally, I was getting off the truck. I was just finishing shift, and I had a call. It was a regular of mine. He's a diabetic, and unfortunately, he didn't make it. The reason he didn't make it, because we had been running on him consistently because he could no longer afford his insulin. So when you call 911, one of the things that we do for you, we can help regulate your sugar and get you down and get you to the emergency room. He was no longer to afford his insulin, so he was using us to regulate his sugar because he couldn't afford his insulin. And our calls to his house were becoming more frequent to the day that when we finally got there to a call, it wasn't for his sugar, it was because he was in cardiac arrest. Wasn't even no older than 50. Like, still had a lot of life to live, still had a family to take care of. Could have been here today if he could have afforded his insulin. The administration we have currently and the legislation that they put in place destroyed the cap of $35 for insulin. If that cap would have never got destroyed, this man would still be alive today. It's things like that that I see every day, how policies affect families and how policies affect people's lives, that these current people in charge just look as numbers and statistics, people on pieces of paper. I got to see these people. And to know that a person could be alive right now, but by the stroke of your pen and you wanting to benefit the insurance company some way, you cost that person his life. After that, I was just like, you know what? I'm done. Something's got to change. Somebody got to stand up for this. So,
do you? Thank you for sharing that. In sort of that, realization, what was the next step for you? What's the first thing that you began to do? Because from just the story you said, it sounds like you sort of knew sort of immediately where to, I guess, place blame for this situation. Is that sort of where your brain first went to, or you were like, let me kind of figure out what I can do, or was your first thought like, no, I need to run? Like, what was?
No, I was literally like, all right, man, let's first I looked at who my current representative was. Kind of looked at his voting record, looked up some of the things that he's done, looked up his whole background and all these different things, realized he's been representing me for almost 10 years and I didn't even know who he was until I did all of this, which was a problem for me. Because I wasn't involved as much as I needed to be. After I looked all that up, I looked up qualifications, I looked up what you needed to do in order to run for Congress, in order to run for the seat. I talked with my wife, talked with some people I knew that were in politics, asked them their opinion on it. Do they think it would have been a good idea? And they were overwhelmingly like, yes, you should do this. Like, no hesitation. You would be perfect for this. And I was like, all right. So I literally took like a month, did as much research as I could on everything that I needed to do. I got with a woman who's amazing. She has a background in strategies and consulting, and she actually volunteered to be my campaign manager because she believes in me and believes in what I'm trying to do. And it's just been me and her this entire time, and we built this platform to where we are now. So once I got all that stuff situated, I was like, all right, let's do it.
And, sort of your background being, you grew up, you grew up here? Would you say you grew up here in Miami? Would you say? Okay.
No, I grew up here.
What is it that you think you understand about the district that sort of, suits you to be sort of like, the person that represents it?
I understand the people, man. I understand, what people love about this area. I understand what people want in this area, man. A lot of us don't want the development that's coming here. A lot of us like the fact that this was like a secret, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was a getaway. It was like one of the last few places in Florida that was untouched, you know what I'm saying? And now we see again, the developers are starting to realize like, wait, this place got good access to the beach. You know, Miami is expensive, Broward is expensive, now Palm Beach is expensive. What's our next like access point to beachfront property? You know, Port St. Lucie, you know, just one of the things that separates them. They don't have access to the beach right now, but when you look at Stewart and you look at Fort Pierce, it's perfect for development. It's perfect for these people that want to come in and develop this area. You know, I've heard some very powerful people are looking for property up here in this area because they see the potential. And when I hear that, all I hear is the people that I grew up with, my friends around here, being pushed out. Because any development that happens like that, we don't tend to stick around that long. People that look like you and I watched it happen down in Miami. I was born down in Carroll City, or quote unquote Miami Gardens now. Carroll City is no more because Miami Gardens exists now. Miami Gardens moved out all the people that made Carroll City what it was and gentrified it to the point now that we have high rises right next to the Dolphin Stadium, you know, the places where schools once were, our apartment complexes. My grandmother just recently, over the past few years, she owned her home, but because the property taxes raised so high and the utility rates raised so high, she was on a fixed income. She had to sell a home that she has owned for 30 years, not wanting to leave Miami, but could not afford it. And I watched her have to sell her home where she raised all her children and move because of people coming in and developing. And it's the same thing that will happen here. You know, people will be stubborn, like, I'm not gonna sell, and that's fine. We'll keep raising these taxes, we'll keep raising these rates, and eventually you won't be able to afford to live here. You will sell to us. We'll knock your home down, rebuild it, and turn it into something else.
What do you think about the potential for there to be sort of no property taxes for the state of Florida? What do you think about that? Because just to sort of add to that, you know, again, another conversation that's sort of permeating throughout of the overdevelopment, the growth. I think an anecdote that people sort of have tried to put in place as it relates to that is the idea of eliminating property taxes. From what I understand about you, you probably aren't on that side. So maybe say more about that.
So I would love nothing more at being a homeowner to not have to pay property tax, but property tax funds everything, man. Property tax is the only stable source of income we have for my job as a firefighter. Funds the police service, funds the roads, funds all these different services around that we all use. And the problem with it is, for me, you can get rid of it, fine. What's the replacement? What's the stable source of income that's going to be there to fund all these different services? If you raise the sales tax, which potentially could be a thing, right now it's at 7%. The numbers say in order to make up for the loss of revenue, you would have to raise the sales tax from 7 to almost 14%. I don't own a home. Let's say I don't own a home. I'm a renter. Why am I penalized because you have a house now? Why don't my tax as a sales have to increase because you decided you wanted to buy a home? I was already saving money because I wasn't a homeowner, so I didn't have property tax. So now you just made me take on the burden of your home and your decision. But I took out a student loan. I can't get that. I can't get that taken because you don't want to have the burden of my decision, but I got to have the burden of your decision to buy a home. You get what I'm saying? Also, they talk about the tourism fund and things of that nature to be able to kind of subsidize this stuff. Well, that's great, but if you looked at the numbers, like tourism, it's not doing well right now in our state, and that's not a stable source of income. So you eliminate the property tax without an absolute stable source of income, you're eliminating services all across the state with people who are already having services, being stripped from their departments, being stripped away from their municipalities. And then on top of that, you make the local government beholden to the state. A lot of the local government, their funding comes from property taxes. They're able to make decisions for their communities through property taxes. If you eliminate the property tax from the local government, you essentially make all the local municipalities wards of the state. They have to go through the state to get whatever they desire. What does that mean? Now I can't piss off whoever's up in the state. I gotta do whatever they say or I won't get no money. And if you think we ain't got no control over here in this area now, do you want to leave that control up to the state of Florida?
Understood. You spend a lot of time sort of talking about the sort of other side from your perspective and all that good stuff.
you running against sort of, you have a primary that you have to go through. Maybe speak about sort of your perspective on that. You sort of having to get through this phase in order to ultimately win the seat. Do you sort of spend time thinking about the people that you're running against in the primary now?
Not really. I try to run my own race, to be honest with you, man. Let everybody do their thing. It's a democratic process for a reason. Whoever wants to decide to run and earn this nomination, I welcome them. As many people that want to try to make a change, I welcome it. The people will decide who they truly believe is for them. Everything is open information. You can look up any candidate that wants to run. You can look up their backgrounds. You can look up and see what they're about and their message. And if you feel that that's going to be the person that best represents you, by all means, please vote for them. I made a pledge. We had a candidates forum a while back, and I made a pledge. We all made a pledge. Like, whoever the person is going to be, get behind that person and hope for the best for them. Because at the end of the day, we all have the same goal of trying to bring change to this area.
Do you know how they're sort of going about their fundraising and if it's different from yours?
Oh yeah, they are way different from mine, man. They both have political backgrounds, so they've done this for years. They've been in Washington. They've been involved in politics. They've been in the structure. They've been in the establishment, so they know how it works. They got the political consultants and all that good stuff. So they're doing things by pretty much the way it's always been done from what I see on the outside. And kudos to however they feel like they got to win. For me, I just know I'm doing this the way I think is right. And like I say, we'll let the people decide who they feel is going to be best.
Who has sort of given you money so far?
Again, just all people all across the country, man. Just people who see my stuff online, people who hear my message, people who I talk to out here in the community. It's all small dollar donors, man. I've had one political action committee take interest in my campaign. It's a grassroots working class political action committee that have given me about $1,000 for my campaign so far. Other than that, it's just been people who vibe with me.
And sort of putting a bow on this point, back to your sort of pragmatist angle, is there some fear around not having enough support potentially to run this race and sort of do what it is you want to do from your perspective?
No. So the good thing about it, we've already raised enough money to make sure my name's going to be on the ballot. So I'll be on the ballot come primary time. And at the end of the day, again, if I'm not the person that's chosen, it's not going to be no sweat off my back, man. I continue to serve my community the way I have, and I love what I do, man. I love being a firefighter. I love being able to be there for people. Even if I win, I don't anticipate myself stopping what I'm doing as a firefighter. I continue to still serve my community as a firefighter, even if I win and become a congressman.
So your idea is that you win and...
I do both, man.
Okay.
Absolutely. My schedule as a firefighter, again, we talked about earlier, I only work 1 day on and 3 days off. So there's a lot of days off to go up to Washington and do what I need to do for the people and still do what I love to do, man.
How does your family feel about you running? I'm just curious. I know you mentioned it at the beginning, the start of it, but now that you're in it, what's those conversations like?
It's not really a lot of conversations. Like, we don't really talk about it that much, to be honest with you, man. It's just like, I'm in my office, I'm doing what I need to do. Make sure I spend time with my wife and my kids, and then I get out here and I get to work, man. My wife is, she's been very supportive. She's actually designed t-shirts for me. She helps with a lot of design and a lot of the marketing material, so she's very much involved in what I'm trying to do. And she knows I'm trying to do the right thing, man. And at the end of the day, she's supportive of anything that I try to do, just like I'm supportive of anything she tries to do. And, at the end of the day, again, win or lose, we're going to be all right.
I don't have too many more questions for you. Want to thank you for your time and sort of, meeting in the middle of what I think is the middle of St. Lucie County.
The middle?
I think so. I think it's the middle of everything. I think it's the middle of Florida. What do you think is the middle?
Oh, Lord. It's probably Midway Road.
Maybe. This is where all the action is at.
Yeah, absolutely.
Midway's got some construction going on. This is where all the action at. I really think it's the heart of the city. I guess I should say that.
It
not
is
the middle of the heart.
Like I said, it's funny, man. Every time I come down here, it's just like thinking about, going to the Elks Lodge back when I was younger and some of the stories there, man.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe we skip past that. Yeah. Every time I hear Elks Lodge, I'm like,
Yeah, buddy, man.
This be a different campaign.
Oh yeah. It's funny. I had a conversation last night. I was doing another interview, and one of the hosts, she's actually a private investigator. She was like, I'm not gonna lie to you. I looked you up for this interview. I was like, yeah. She's like, I don't know who you had to scrub your internet presence or your background, but I couldn't find nothing. And I was like, ma'am, I don't do nothing but play video games and watch movies. It ain't gonna be too much of anything you can find about me. So she's like, no, that's great, because she's looked up some other people and she's found some things that maybe they shouldn't be trying to run for politics, that they might not want to come out. So that was good to hear as well. It's just like, I've been trying to live my life right.
Really, my last question, to end it on a more lighthearted note. What's your favorite restaurant in the county?
Fats, man.
Really?
Chicken and waffles, brother.
Okay.
love Fats, man. I can't deny that one. Fats, and then close second. Oh, it's down in Stewart. Not even Stewart. It's Palm City area. It's a wood fire grilled Italian pizza place. I think it's called Pad Thai. It's some kind of crazy name, but top 3 pizza I ever had in my life.
Gotcha.
I would leave here right now and drive all the way down and get a pizza if I wanted. Absolutely. So those are probably my 2 places here that I love.
Gotcha. I'm turning to my support here. Any questions that I missed? Anything that you want to? Jaquan, Robin, Miss Robin. Well, oh yeah,
It's a personal question.
Absolutely.
I want to present a national issue, but how does it apply to you? So, I saw on your Facebook page you have Philippians 4:13 in your bio. And as we see, religion and Christianity has been a weapon of some sorts used to push harmful narratives. How does your faith play a part in not just your race, but you interacting with the community?
I think my faith is one of the reasons why I believe the way I believe, as far as like serving people, man. You read the Bible, you read the stories of Jesus, you read the teachings of Jesus and the things that we learn in the Bible. You're supposed to be of service to people. You're supposed to treat everyone with love and kindness and things of that nature. And the way I feel about my faith is just my faith. My faith doesn't have to be your faith. My beliefs don't have to be your beliefs. But I believe that my belief has guided me this far to be the person that I am, which is a person that values every life, which is a person that wants to be of service and do the things that I need to do to make sure that everybody around me is great. We had our Thanksgiving turkey giveaway over the holiday. We gave away 100 turkeys. We fed 100 families. And I was telling my wife, out of all the things I did in my life, that was probably the most joy I've ever felt, was doing that giveaway, seeing how many people were genuinely thankful just to be able to celebrate Thanksgiving and have those meals with that family. I've done a lot of good things in my life. Like I played high school ball, played college ball. I've had my children. I got married, like all these different things. And the feeling that I had when I did that, I can't describe it. And it's things like that, my mindset, my faith, being raised, by my mom, who's a minister, by my grandfather and great grandfather, who owned a church up in Wabasso, which is a little bit north of here, in Vero Beach. It's guided me this far to be a good person and maintain my humanity. But again, it's not something that needs to be, weaponized against others. It's not something that needs to be forced on others. This is me and my personal beliefs that guide my life. And everybody should have their own beliefs, whatever they are, and let them guide their lives.
Good.
Yes.
No, I don't want to ask anything because that was just such a poignant question.
That was great. Best question of the interview. Next time I'm gonna be there. Jaquan's gonna be here. But you're good. You're good. Everybody good? Okay. Well, I appreciate this.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you, brother.
Jaquan, do you want to take a picture for like the thumbnail?
You guys can just look into the camera.
All right, we'll go 3, 2, 1.